guys, welcome to the channel. Today's video I'll be talking about the brand new updated tier list, and I will also be sharing two brand new codes that can give you over 60 clear drops. But before I get started on the video, make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and also turn on post notification bell so that you guys can always stay tuned as I post new videos. Really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server, so if you guys have any questions, you can join the server by going to my channel description. You see the server link there, and I'll also post a server link in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into the video. So for the codes, we come over here to the menu, we click settings. The first code is version update, so I'm going to go ahead and type it down right here. I'm going to click go. So the first one is version update. That is the first code, and you basically get 60 clear drops and 5,000 dust. And for the next code, it is 9LRC9ZN. That is the second code. I messed up right there. It's 9LRC9ZN. This is the second code. Click confirm, and you also get 60 clear drops. You get stamina, you get 10,000 dust, and also 12,000 sharp. So this is a really good code because stamina, it's really important. So make sure you guys claim these two codes. So basically you get around like 120 clear drops in total, and you also get stamina. So those are the two codes, and I'm going to go ahead and switch on over to the tier list, and we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So as you guys can see, we have the brand new updated tier list for version 1.2. So the difference between this tier list and the previous tier list we had in 1.1 is that basically for this tier list, the main elements that are basically going to give you a huge benefit in this update is the star element, the mineral, and plant. And the reason why is because one thing I noticed is that whenever the featured character is going, like whenever we have a update, and then whenever we have two characters, basically the two featured characters, whichever element they are associated with, whatever place they're associated with, that element is going to be really good for the specific update. So for example, Jessica, she's a plant unit, and Tooth Fairy, she's a star unit. So these two units right now are actually busted because this update is specifically focused on their afflatus, which is plant, star, and mineral. So that's pretty much how, you know, the tier list is right now. I'm not going to talk about the overall because overall tier list, I think it's pretty much the same. But for the 1.2 tier list, as you guys can see, Melania went down the tier list, Centurion went down the tier list. But of course, they're still good units because this update is specifically focused on plant, mineral, and star elements. So as you guys can see, Lilia, she went up the tier list because of course, she works really well with Tooth Fairy because she's a crit character, right? So if you look at her kit, she is a burst damage and a DPS unit, and her ultimate enjoys crit hit. So if she's able to land a crit hit, she'll be able to, well, it says when this attack scores a critical hit and enjoys lead trace. So basically when she lands a crit, she's going to receive additional healing, and of course the rest of her kit is just basically just crit oriented. So pairing her up with a unit like Tooth Fairy is really good because if we look at Tooth Fairy's kit, Tooth Fairy can basically reduce the enemy's crit resist, which allows DPS characters to land more crit. So Tooth Fairy and Lilia, both really good units, and also Voyager as well. As you guys can see, Voyager got boosted up into the S tier as well because she is also a star character, and of course she has that crit resist in her kit. So I feel like Voyager, she is a really great unit overall because she's able to provide a counter to your team. Like if we come down over here to her second arcane skill, it says mass counter gives all allies one stack of interstellar blessing and sturdiness statuses. And interstellar blessing basically deals genesis damage to the attacker, so whenever the enemy attacks you, you're going to attack the enemy back with this counter, and then the sturdiness basically allows your team to have a damage taking reduction. So overall, I feel like Voyager is a really great unit to pair up with Tooth Fairy. Like if you have Voyager, picking up Tooth Fairy would be absolute, like your account would be just cracked because Tooth Fairy and Voyager, they're just good units together overall because you have Voyager who's casting that counter and allowing your team to do additional damage, and on top of that, Voyager is also inflicting that crit resist, which allows Tooth Fairy to basically purify your team 90% of the time, because whenever she does her ultimate, and if she's able to crit with her ultimate, she'll be able to purify your team with the debuff. And on top of that, she'll be able to heal your team, even not heal your team, but she'll be able to basically deal more damage to the enemy, since you have Voyager who's inflicting the crit resist as well, and then you also have Tooth Fairy who's doing the same thing. So it's just both of them together, they're just absolutely insane. So moving on, I want to talk about X. So the reason why X got boosted up into this tier list, like if we go to the overall, X, he's still in the A tier, but a couple weeks ago, X was literally in the B tier. Now the reason why X got boosted up into the tier list, like into the A rank, is because the fact that he's able to reduce the enemy's moxie is just absolutely insane. I feel like X, he's always had potential, right? He's always had potential. He can deal good damage. And I just feel like the best thing is the fact that he's able to dispel the enemy's counter. He's able to reduce their moxie. And on top of that, he's just able to dispel stats up and pause status, which basically prevents the enemy from using buffs to basically do more damage against you. So overall, I feel like X, he just has a lot of potential. And I feel like the more and more we progress through the game, the more X will be boosted up in the tier list, because you have characters like Melania, who basically steals Moxie as well. And I feel like she'll be a really great unit to pair up with X as well as Regulus. I feel like if you made a whole team that just basically steals Moxie, Regulus, X, and Melania, that wouldn't be a bad team at all. Of course, you basically want a healer on your team or a tank, but I'll say all three of them together. Basically, the enemy won't be able to cast their ultimate at all, because they're all just going to continuously steal the enemy's Moxie over and over again. So X, I completely agree that he's A tier. Not gonna lie, when he was in B tier, I was questioning. I was like, I don't know, man, because that -2 Moxie is kind of cracked. So overall, X, he really does have a lot of potential. Now, what I want to talk about is the future of my account. So for the next update, we're gonna have, if we look to the overall tier list, we're gonna have this character right here. We're gonna have Black Dwarf, and we're also going to have Shamani. I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to say Shamaine. I'm just going to say Shamaine for now. So Shamaine, he seems like he's going to be a pretty busted unit. I'm not going to read his kit. I'm going to wait, until 1.3 is announced. But I feel like Shaman, like out of the two characters, Mineral, we already have a Mineral character. We have Eternity, right? We have Eternity. We have Pickles. We have Sonetto. We have so many Mineral characters. I have so many Mineral characters on my account. I feel like we need a beast DPS unit, like a beast unit, a support beast unit, honestly, because I feel like this character, he has a lot of potential. So it's going to be hard to pick which one I should go for, because Black Dwarf, if she's going to be a single target character, that's going to be really good for my account, because my account, I only have, one single target DPS character, which is Pickles, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully, I don't know, next update, I don't know which unit I'm going to go for. It's either Shamaine or Black Dwarf. I'm going to have to pick one, but overall, it seems like Shamaine, he's literally S tier in every single category, so we're just going to have to wait and see. But Necrologist also in A tier. If we go to the 1.2, she is in B tier. I feel like Necrologist, she has potential. She really does have potential, but we're just gonna have to progress through the game even more to see, where her true rank is at. Like if she's in B tier or A tier, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But overall, Necrologist is not a bad unit, and Diggers was literally moved down the tier list. Now the fact that they moved him down, I'm pretty sure he was in the A tier, probably, I forgot, but I'm using Diggers, and honestly, Diggers is not a bad unit. Like, he's pretty decent. He's literally the same thing as Baby Blue. It's just that his ultimate is just a single target effect, where he can basically inflict Nightmare on only one target, but instead of it lasting for 1 round, it can last for 2 rounds. So he's pretty much almost the same. Like, he's almost similar to Baby Blue, but Baby Blue she's more of like an AoE debuffing unit. Like Diggers, he's able to inflict that AoE debuff, but his ultimate is single target, meanwhile her ultimate is AoE. So the only difference is that her ultimate is AoE and it only lasts for 1 round, the Nightmare, and Diggers, his ultimate is single target and it lasts for 2 rounds. So that's like the only difference between them. And that's honestly pretty much it. So Diggers overall in B tier, I kind of agree. I feel like B tier is like a good spot for him. But overall, I feel like Diggers would definitely be in that A tier later on in the future because of that Nightmare. I feel like Nightmare is a really good effect. The fact that it lasts for 2 rounds, he has a lot of potential for sure. Now for Blondie, I read Blondie's kit and she's basically a burst damage DPS unit, and she would work really well with Tooth Fairy because, as you guys can see, for her ultimate, she has mass attack. It deals 250% reality damage to all enemies and increases the critical rate of this attack by 20%. So if you pair that up with Tooth Fairy and Tooth Fairy is able to reduce the enemy's crit resist, she can do a lot of damage for sure. But I feel like the main reason why they put her in that B tier category is because like if she's gonna be in that A tier category, she's definitely gonna have to compete with units like Melania, a Knight, Centurion, Druvis, and honestly, she's just not on their level because they have a way, like their scaling is way higher, like literally 650% mental damage versus her dealing just 250% reality damage. Like you can literally tell that the characters in A tier, they have a way higher scaling than Blondie. So her being in B tier is a pretty good spot for her. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Tanat, she also got moved down the tier list as well. I think she was in A tier, but she got moved down to B tier. And DK is still holding on strong. She's still in that A tier spot. I feel like DK overall is just a really solid unit because she's able to do damage and she's also able to heal your team. So overall, DK is a really solid beast unit. Like if you're trying to run a beast team comp, DK is definitely a necessity because she can heal your team, do damage, and she can also, like she can basically have that not immortality, but she basically has immunity to herself when she does her ultimate, which is really, really good. So DK definitely up there. And Balloon Party also really solid unit overall. And we also see Sotheby up in that S tier rank. And the reason why is, of course, because this update is specifically focused on plant, star, and mineral units. And when you pair her up with Jessica, and Jessica's basically going to be in phase 2 of this update, when you pair them up together, they're going to be absolutely insane. So overall, this 1.2 tier list, I agree with this tier list. I think it's a pretty solid tier list overall. Of course, I think the only thing I can disagree with, honestly, there's really nothing I can disagree with on this tier list. Like this tier list is honestly perfect. Like everything is perfectly fine because Diggers and Baby Blue, they're pretty much the same thing. So them being in the same tier, that makes a lot of sense. And Click being in B tier, Tanat being in B tier, that's fair enough. So yeah, overall this tier list, spot on. But I'll be leaving the video at that. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe, and also put your thoughts down below in the comment section of what you guys think about this tier list. Do you guys agree or disagree with this tier list? I'll have to see y'all's opinions. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a good one, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.